People say birds of a feather flock together. That is such a true statement, especially when our mystery decoding team meetings occur. In a way, we try to find clues to solve mysteries in the most unusual places. Like when many people around the world are puzzled by this ANSI crop circle from August the 13th, 2016, we decoded it with Wheel of Fortune. I mean, we decided to buy a vowel, and then another one, and then the puzzle was solved with a clear message. Trump will win the 2016 election. And then we developed our one-of-a-kind Nostradamus decoding method. The idea came to Sherry because she always has too much to say. So she thought it would take more than 4 lines for Nostradamus to finish a sentence. I mean, on important matters. So we expanded our decoding to the quatrain before and after to help us find out what we're looking for. Of course, you may not agree with our findings, but I think it is definitely a different cup of tea as compared to other Nostradamus interpretations you may have read before. And I have to take credit for us looking for keywords. I recall telling Sherry, get to the point, please. So she started looking for keywords, and she's pretty good at it. Whether it is Dreamer for DACA, Festival for the Vegas Massacre, Insight for the Mars Mission, Letter for the Mail Bomber, or Synagogue for the Pittsburgh attacks, she seemed to find clues with just a few keystrokes. However, sadly, no matter how convincing the evidence we find, some people still call that stretching. Wow. Let's face an unfortunate fact. If you don't like what you hear, no matter how clear and detailed it is, you will choose to ignore it. Many people think CNN is fake news, and many others think Fox News is fake news. So it should come as no surprise to hear people calling our decoding fake news. But no matter what people say, we have been fascinated with what we have found. It seems like Sherry has found herself a pen pal in Nostradamus. Every time she asks a question, he delivers the answer to her from 500 years in the past. So we decided to search today's headlines. The sex abuse claims against the Cardinal Pell. I'm not a Catholic, but I've always held high respect for priests and nuns. I admire their love of God and the sacrifices they have made. But with ever-mounting accusations against priests and the church, I feel sad that some would prey on innocent children who trusted them. The conviction of Cardinal Pell may fall short of a crime of the century, but it does have such fundamental effects on our society. I don't think Nostradamus could keep silent on this. The casting of bait in the form of a search produced an easy catch. The first search is on the word church, and this one popped up. Century 3, quatrain 18, quote, Mount Aventine will be seen to burn at night. The sky very suddenly dark in Flanders. When the monarch will chase his nephew, the church people will commit scandals. The last line talked about scandals, but there were church scandals before Nostradamus was even born. So I personally won't pin this to the cardinal sin, as I thought this has more to do with the synagogue attacks in Pittsburgh, although this could apply in both incidents. After searching for the keyword church, I decided to search for the keyword cross, and I found 16. Another interesting quatrain is found in Century 8, quatrain 98, quote, Of the churchmen the blood will be poured forth, as abundant as water in. For a long time it will not be restrained. Woe, woe for the clergy, ruin and grief. Thus far, Cardinal Pell may be the highest ranked priest convicted, but he for sure will not be the last one. Could that be what the blood will be poured forth? Maybe. And will this ruin the Catholic clergy? Maybe. But I personally think this quatrain is too vague. So I decided to search a new keyword, cross. There are 16 quatrains with the word cross. But what grabbed my attention is this 3-quatrain cluster. In Century 8, Quatrain 89, quote, "In order not to fall into the hands of his uncle, who slaughtered his children in order to reign, pleasing with the people, putting his foot on Peluncle, dead and dragged between armored horses." Then in Century 8, Quatrain 90, quote, "When those of the cross are found their senses troubled, in place of sacred things he will see a horned bull. Through the Virgin the pig's place will then be filled. Order will no longer be maintained by the king." Then lastly, in Century 8, Quatrain 91, quote, "Enter among the field of the Rhine, where those of the cross are almost united, the two lands meeting in Pisces, and a great number punished by the flood." Please note the word cross appeared in the 2nd and 3rd quatrain. If not for these two, I probably would have never noticed Century 8, Quatrain 89. But when I did, chills ran up my spine when I read it. Putting his foot on Peluncle. Do you know what Peluncle means? Probably not, because there is no such word. But what does it mean when you separate Pell with uncle? I think Pell is George Pell, and uncle meant uncle. Actually, uncle is the word for maternal uncle. There is no worse crime than abusing the children who trusted you. Cardinal Pell was their father, but he is a father who slaughtered his children. He does not deserve to be their father nor their uncle. The punishment for the crime may not be death, but his act has dragged down the church's good name. The 2nd quatrain continues to describe the horrible effects. The congregation now finds their sacred priest doing the deed of the devil, like a horned bull. The cardinal who swore to chastity vows behaved like a pig. They did not follow the church's rules, nor the pope's, and certainly not their heavenly fathers. The 3rd one seems a bit vague and hard to decode. I will start on line 3. Quote, "The two lands meeting in Pisces." Cardinal Pell is the Australian cardinal, so he represents both Australia and the Vatican. Can we say that is what the two lands meeting means? Italy is part of the Rhine Basin, so if we look at these 3 quatrains, who do we get? A man of the cross betrayed the faith and the congregation. He represents both the Vatican and his home country. He is a priest, as the cross appeared twice in the 3-quatrain cluster. And we did find Pell in this word created by Nostradamus. That would seem specific enough, but in addition, while researching on the word cardinal, we found him named Perfect of the Secretariat for the Economy since 2014. So I thought I would search Perfect, and I was speechless after realizing what I had found. In Century 8, Quatrain 55, quote, "He will find himself shut in between two rivers. Cask and barrels joined to cross beyond. 8 bridges broken, their chief run through so many times. Perfect children's throats slit by the knife." The quatrain showed nothing interesting, right? So why should I be speechless? Well, Cardinal Pell was convicted in Melbourne Court in December 2018. The court is between the river Maribyrnong and Yarra. The second line pointed out the word cross. Line 3 talked about 8 bridges broken. Do you know priests are a bridge between God and the world? And Cardinal Pell was appointed as the 8th Archbishop of Sydney in 2001. And in 2013, Pell was one of the 8 members appointed to advise the Pope on reform. And one thing not many people have known: the perfect George Pell had an abscess in his throat. He underwent 24 operations as a child to remove it. Does that fit the quote, "perfect children's throats slit by the knife"? Of course, he may be the only perfect who had his throat slit by a knife 24 times when he was a child. But why did Nostradamus say children? Maybe it is also to show the Church's effort to silence the abused children. I can't say more as I really don't know all the details. Even today, a lot of the information is still under seal. So, another day, another news, and another event predicted by Nostradamus. I often wonder if the future is set. If it is not set, how can a prophet like Nostradamus know so much about the future? If it is set, can we change the future? That's why I made this and many of the other Nostradamus videos. I do not wish to repeat what you already knew, but hoping to find clues that were overlooked. We can't see the future, but if we can learn from people who can, maybe we can see into the future also. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.